Good evening, everybody. Welcome to virtual happy hour tonight. Special thank you to Rad Plaid and Eat Drink Lucky for putting this on. My name is Pat McDonald. I'm the bar manager of Chaval, French-Spanish restaurant in Portland, Maine. Currently furloughed, like many of us in the hospitality business, so glad to be able to make a couple of drinks for you guys tonight. I'm going to apologize in advance for my terrier, Maddie. She's probably going to be running around and chiming in at various points throughout the broadcast, so bear with me. She's got a mind of her own. So we're going to start off tonight with an aperitif-style cocktail. I call this one Summer's End. Great song by the late John Prine. All my drink names moving forward are going to be appropriately music-based. So the Summer's End is a gin-based drink, essentially a variation on a Negroni that we call or a white Negroni, essentially. So a classic Negroni is an aperitif-style drink. It combines equal parts of gin, Italian or sweet vermouth, and Campari for the bittering agent. Really well balanced. Often riffed upon classic cocktail. So typically for a white Negroni, you're going to swap out some of those ingredients for lighter and or more herbaceous style ingredients. So today I'm going to be using a gin from Scotland. It's called Hendrick's Gin. I'm sure many people are familiar with that one. In addition to the traditional botanical profile of juniper, Hendrick's is also infused with cucumber and rose petals. So it has a really nice, clean flavor profile. It's not as astringent as a London Dry, and it has a nice vegetal quality from the cucumber infusion. To complement that, there she is. I have a classic dry vermouth. This is by the French producer Dolan and Chambray. It's a very traditional dry style of vermouth. You could either use a dry vermouth, or they also make a blanc as well. Difference being a blanc will have a little more residual sweetness and more floral notes, whereas the dry, as the name suggests, tends to be both drier and more herbaceous. And obviously we can't make a white Negroni with red Campari. So for the bittering agent on this one, I'm using Sailors. That's a gentian-based aperitif from France, very classic. Gives it both the bitter flavor from the gentian as well as some floral notes. Okay, and then the last piece for this one, if you're able to get your hands on some celery bitters, it's really going to step up this drink. Okay, this is bitters from the company Fee Brothers, based out of Rochester, New York, not too far from my hometown of Albany. And there are a couple other producers that produce celery bitters. Scrappy's is one, Bitter Truth is another. I believe they're all available at Bow Street and RSVP, but you can also find those on Amazon because that might be a tougher grab. So on the instructions for the drink, everything's listed in parts. Okay, so typically when you're listing in parts, you start with the lowest common denominator of those parts. In this case, that will be the Sailors for 1 part, and that's going to translate in this drink to a ½ ounce. Now, I realize many people may be measuring at home without the assistance of a jigger. A tablespoon is something you can find in most kitchen drawers at home. So it's roughly 2 tablespoons per ounce when you're building the drinks. So if by chance you're measuring with a tablespoon at home, that'll be 1 tablespoon of the Sailors. I'm going to use my jigger for a ½ ounce, okay? Put that into our mixing glass. So this is going to be a stirred drink. So if you have any type of, pint glass in lieu of a mixing glass, that'll work as well. We're going to do 2 parts of the dry vermouth, so 1 ounce or 2 tablespoons. And most importantly, the gin for 3 parts. So that's going to roughly translate to 1.5 ounces. Okay. I'm going to give it a couple dashes of the celery bitters. And we're going to stir this one. So So stirring is obviously a less vigorous action than shaking a drink, but it preserves that nice mouthfeel and viscosity of very spirited drink that this one is. But with stirred drinks, obviously less aggressive, so it takes a little longer to stir them. I generally recommend around 40, 45 seconds for a stirred cocktail. Depending on the size of your ice at home, kind of cut back that timeline. I'm just using regular freezer ice. I don't have my fancy cocktail ice that I normally have on hand. Hey, Maddie. You'll be seeing her later, I'm sure. All right, we're going to call that good. So I do like a nice large ice cube for this one. I mentioned I didn't have fancy ice. That was only a half truth. Okay. So the large cube, these are 2x2x2 molds. You're going to put into an old fashioned or rocks glass. And just drop that right in. Grab your strainer. Okay. Pour the drink right on top of that. And I always like to have snacks for garnish. So as I mentioned before, the Hendrick's gin is infused with cucumber. We're going to be garnishing this drink with a little sliced cucumber you can enjoy along the way. Now, one thing I mentioned in my notes is if you don't have access to celery bitters, you could always do a little celery salt on the rim of your glass for that similar flavor profile. I'm just going to take a little celery salt and dash it on top of these cucumber slices. Now, you don't need much. A little bit goes a long way, but that's really going to make the flavor pop. Okay. Always garnish in odd numbers. Okay. Like the last one. And that is the Summer's End cocktail. Really well balanced, delicious, herbaceous drink. It's perfect for late spring as we head into summer. Cheers.
Hey, everybody. I guess I'm here. All right. Well, so I'm David Turin. I'm the chef and owner of David's Restaurants. And I got my camera assistant over here. You can't see her, but I'm gonna show you to her. This is my daughter, Ashley, over here. And there's my cat. He's going to photobomb us a couple times. That's Rocky, who's actually, he's a model. He's a supermodel. Check him out right there. All right. So listen, I'm going to make a little shrimp and grits. And Ashley's going to take pictures of my camera. And I got this, I made the wrong glass. I made the cocktail in the wrong glass. So cheers. Here's your Hendrick's gin cocktail. Cheers, everybody. All right. So I'm going to start with the grits. So what I got here is I got about a quart of some, in this case, vegetable stock. So we're eating pescatarian over here at our house. So this recipe that I call for actually has an option of some bacon, which I am not going to do in mine because we're eating pescatarian. But anyway, all right. So the grits are ultimately going to have these grits right here, which you can see right here. There, Ashley's got the grits. I don't have parsley. My recipe calls for parsley, so I'm going to use some chopped spinach because this is quarantine cooking after all. A little cream cheese, a little cheddar. That's all going in over there. All right. So these are my shrimp right here. And to get this ready, what I want to do is I've got these great big shrimp, and this is really important to do. So I really want to butterfly these shrimp up really deeply. You can see, like, I got them open all the way here for two reasons. One is I want to get rid of any vein that's left in there. And the other thing is if I open the shrimp up like this a little bit, then they take the marinade and the seasoning a lot better than if they're just whole like they are. So the other thing I have going over here is I've got some butter over here on the stove, a couple tablespoons of butter, and I've got a little bit of olive oil here. And what I'm going to do is so if I was using bacon, I would be cooking the bacon and I would be rendering that out. And in this case, I'm just going to use butter and olive oil. and that's going to be the base for my spicy shrimp. All right, so I've got the butter and olive oil melting. I'm cooking some vegetable stock over there for my grits, and I'm butterflying these shrimp right here. All right, so then this is, I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking like the key to good quarantine cooking shouldn't be too hard, right? And it shouldn't use too many ingredients. So I don't have a lot of ingredients in here. It's pretty good. All right. So I'm back. Here I am. I got my shrimp. They're in this bowl. All right. So this is a couple of tablespoons of some Cajun seasoning. I like to use a mild Cajun seasoning. And the reason is that we're not real spice fans over here in our house. So, you know, a lot of people like spicy food. We're not that household. So I'm going to use some lemon juice later on. And I like to have a little bit of lemon. And so I'm just going to take this lemon zest off. So I took it off I took the lemon off of the peel, off of the lemon, and I just put it in there. So you can see I got the lemon there. Here's my butter right there. Oh yeah, this is pretty good. So I got a little hot butter and olive oil marinade. All right, and so what's going to happen is I'm going to just prep a couple of other things up, and then in a couple of minutes, we're going to break for a little bit of music while shrimp is marinating up. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to finish the dish. But so one of the things I didn't prepare yet is, so I said that I wasn't going to use any bacon. And so what I would like to do instead is I'm going to take this tomato and I'm going to just throw a little tomato and onion in place of my bacon because I don't have bacon and we're eating pescatarian over here. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to break this tomato down in a couple of pieces, couple of chunks, right? And I'm going to throw that in with my shrimp. And then I've got this onion right here, nice little piece of red onion right here. And I'm just going to take this in a couple of sort of chunky pieces like this. All right. And this is my shrimp. So shrimp doesn't take a long time to take on that flavor. So literally 10, 15 minutes sitting on that oil, butter, and marinade is enough. And meanwhile, I've got my my grits going back over here. So let's just talk about grits. So grits are corn product, similar to cornmeal, and similar to polenta. So sometimes it's hard to find grits, and in this current environment that we're in right now, in the quarantine we got going, you might not have grits, but you might have plain old simple yellow cornmeal. So you could do this recipe exactly as I'm doing it. Substitute yellow cornmeal. You could substitute white polenta, or you can go, on this cornmeal, right? I mean, on this grit right here, which is what I have here. So we lost our second camera there. I don't know. Well, actually, maybe you should pick this one up. Oh no, there we're back. Now we're back. All right, good. All right. So what I've got over here is this is the vegetable stock going right here. So that's a quart of vegetable stock. And what I'm going to do is once this stock is pretty hot. So my recipe calls for schmaltz, which is chicken fat, but you can also use duck fat, or if you're pescatarian like we are, then you can just use butter. So, a little bit of butter in here. This is good. So that's basically the fat element. And this is a little bit of vegetable stock. But let's say you don't have vegetable stock. What do you do if you don't have vegetable stock? Well, you can just use water and salt. So here we go. All right. So I got my broth and I got my grits going in there. And all you do is you just stir them in there. And what's awesome about us taking a little break between me cooking these and serving them is that grits take a little time. So you need to simmer them slowly in order for them to get that nice softness and for them to absorb all of the broth that you're cooking with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just let this simmer. It's going to simmer for about 10, 15 minutes, and it's going to get quite a bit thicker. And then right before we serve it, I'm going to put the cheesy part in. So it's going to be some cheddar and some cream cheese. All right. So right there, I just got my grits. I got a little bit of pepper over here and a little bit of salt. And we're just going to let those simmer away. All right, so while that's going, I'm going to come back over here. And one thing I didn't really put down is we're just going to have a vegetable because, you want to have a whole dinner. So I think what I'll do is I'll just make this into some zucchini and some peppers, right? So maybe there's 3 of us. So I like, let's see, I'll have a little bit of this onion in here. All right, and I've got this pepper. Oh, you know what I forgot? I totally forgot, and I got it right out here. I forgot to put the garlic in the shrimp. So here, I got some garlic right here that I peeled earlier. My recipe, I think, only calls for 2 cloves, but these were the tiniest little cloves I've about ever seen. So I'm just going to smash this garlic down like this, and I'm just going to give it a little mince. Well, I'm glad I remembered that because it wouldn't be very good spicy garlic shrimp without the garlic. So there we go. I got my garlic. I'm going to put that in there too with my marinade. All right. And okay, so this is phase 1. We're just about ready right here. So I'm going to turn this back over, and we are going to have some music coming up. This shrimp is going to marinate. My grits are going to cook, and then we're going to come back. We're going to put this whole thing together in a few minutes. So you guys enjoy your cocktail, and I'll see you back in a couple of minutes.
David, that food looks so good. It's made me hungry. My name's Natalie Michelle, and I'll be playing some music for you. Thanks, Eat Drink Lucky, for having me, and Rad Plaid. My first live stream show, so I'm excited about this. I have some new music for you guys and some old music. Last year, I released a record called The Box, and so I'll be playing some music from that. If you aren't already following me on Instagram, please do at Natalie Michelle. Last name is Mishell. And you can catch, right now I'm doing quarantine covers. I'm doing a cover a day and sharing music, and trying to just stay active during this complicated time. So thanks for watching. This first song is called Different Kind of Love. Love you, it's not easy to explain this. I can't have you the way my heart entertains it. I'm not gonna fight with my humanness. I surrender now, I see it's just the way it is. I'm dominated by a life full of lies. Constantly confused by feelings we can't trust. Would you meet me in the middle? Would you meet me in a different kind of love? You see, I came with a heart too big, I confess, with no instructions on how to use it best. Temporary toy with my happiness. I got something I need to get off my chest. I'm dominated by a life full of lies. Constantly confused by feelings we can't trust. Would you meet me in the middle? Would you meet me in a different kind of love? It's not a book to read on how to possibly understand all the ugly deep inside of me. Yeah, am I supposed to know what to hold and to let go? Can you blame me for losing a bit of self-control? Would you love me the way you do? Would you look at told you the life we're living is a game I can't play. Our hearts will always want all the things they can't have. But I can love you differently because that's not so bad. I'm dominated by a life full of lies, constantly confused by feelings we can't trust. But you meet me in the middle, but you meet me. But you meet me in the middle, but you meet me. But you meet me in the middle, but you meet me in a different kind of love. But you meet me in a softer kind of love. But you meet me in a different kind of love. All right. I just got word that sound is okay. So. Okay.
I think we'll work on it.
All right, cool. All right. Yeah, I had a little problem with my sound earlier, so we're trying to figure out what the situation is. So if it sounds a little funny, I apologize. But by my next, I have a set here at the end of the show, and hopefully we'll have it worked out by then. So this next song is called The Box, and it's the title track of my record I was talking about. And it's one of my personal favorites. And it's about living a life for yourself and living a life that makes you happy and a life that you feel is you, truly you, and living in integrity. And yeah, so I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this. Hope you guys enjoy. Put on a dress, fancy shoes, work for a man, and play by the rules. Do you feel safe every day, 9 to 5? Do you feel wrong inside, or do you feel alive? You don't have to fit inside the box they made for you. You don't have to live the way they tell you to. The only way worth living is for yourself. You know your truth. Don't do it for them. No, do it for you. Love can be the hardest thing to find. Running in circles, wasting all your time. But you get hungry, tired, and unsure. Settling for less when you deserve more. You don't have to fit inside the box they made for you. You don't have to live the way they tell you to. The only way worth living is for yourself. You know your truth. Don't do it for them. No, do it for you. You go to church and you pray to God and it's taking care of me. But it's something different from what you believe. You don't have to fit inside the box they made for you. Don't have to live the way they tell you to. The only way worth living is for yourself and all your truth. Don't do it for them. No, do it for you. Yeah, don't do it for them. Do it for you. All right. So, this next song, I feel like everybody knows and loves. It's one of my favorite covers to do. It's Jolie by Jolly Parton. Let's see here. All right, capo. I can't tell who's all watching, so whatever friends and family members are on, thanks for stopping by and stay tuned. We have another cocktail to do. We have another, we have finished David's recipe, and I'll be back for another small set at the end here. Jolie, 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 I'm begging you, please don't take my man. Jolie, 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 please don't take him just because you can. Your beauty is beyond compare, the flaming locks of auburn hair and ivory skin and eyes of emerald green. Your smile's like the breath of spring, your voice is soft like summer rain, and I cannot compete with you, Jolie. He talks about you in his sleep. There's nothing I can do to keep from crying when he calls your name, Jolie. You could easily understand how you could easily take my man, but you don't know what he means to me, Jolie. Jolie, 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 I'm begging you, please don't take my man. Jolie, 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 please don't take it just because you can. You could have your choice of men, but I could never love again. He's the only one for me, Jolie. I had to have this talk with you. My happiness depends on you. Whatever you decide to do, Jolie. Jolie, 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 I'm begging you, please don't take the man. Jolie, 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 please don't take it even though you can. Cool. So thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. We got more for you guys. And I'll see you back here in a few.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Maddie. She's been running around in the background. Some of you may recognize her from last week, so forgive her if she decides to chime in at various points. I hope you all enjoyed the first cocktail we made tonight called Summer's End. The next one we're going to be doing for you guys is called After the Gold Rush, one of my favorite Neil Young albums. And it's based on a sour variation called the Gold Rush, so very appropriate. The Gold Rush cocktail uses bourbon for the base, so American bourbon, corn-based whiskey, fresh lemon juice, and honey. And it's actually a pretty simple drink, but very delicious and balanced. We've taken that a few steps further for our version tonight that we're calling After the Gold Rush. So in addition to the bourbon, lemon, honey, and egg white, we're also utilizing some saffron bitters. Okay, so I gave you guys some simple projects in advance to make your own saffron bitters. If you didn't want to get too crazy, you can take just a classic citrus bitters. These are Regan's orange bitters. Okay, but there are a lot of producers out there that make orange bitters. They're more of a commonly found back bar style of citrus bitters. I love the Regan's. It's a great product. And you can actually pull some of that out of here and infuse it with saffron threads, okay? Dried pistils of the flower, okay, that make this. And it's a pretty potent flavoring agent, so you don't need a ton. I recommend about 6 threads, if you will, per each ounce of bitters. So I can show you up close. That's why I'm over here. So these little guys, those little saffron threads, a few of those usually goes a long way when you're cooking a dish, and I'm sure Chef David can attest to that. So we really are looking for a potent flavor from the saffron when we're infusing our bitters. But obviously, I go a little bit further on my end. I actually make my own saffron bitters, and I use an overproof rum base for them. A lot of botanicals, a lot of dried citrus peel, Iranian saffron, some ginger, hard spices. So these are a little more complex. I wouldn't expect you to be able to pull these off on short notice, but the orange bitters are a good way to sub that in. So why don't we get started on this next drink, since typically egg white cocktails, as we call them, tend to be a little more labor intensive. Right, and I figured some of you guys wouldn't necessarily have all the appropriate bar equipment at home, such as a shaker tin, okay, which usually does most of the heavy work for us behind the bar. So I'm going to kind of hamper myself for you guys tonight by shaking my drink in a mason jar. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have a tight fitting lid for your mason jar. This is a quart container that used to hold yogurt. Thankfully, it doesn't smell. I cleaned it nice and thoroughly first. All right, so whenever I'm making egg drinks, I always start by cracking the egg first. And since we're only looking for the egg white, we're going to be separating the yolk from the white. But the reason why I do that first is because if you already have your spirituous ingredients in here and you mess up on the separation, you don't want to end up with egg yolk in the drink and thereby spoiling the rest of your ingredients. So we're going to do that first. Okay, just crack it on the side. It's firm crack. Okay. Listen to my own advice. We'll split that open and just keeping the yolk in the center, roll it back and forth a couple times. Make sure you get all the white separated. Okay. That should be good. I set that aside. You can use that for some hollandaise or something else. I'm sure David had some tips. All right, so the egg white's in there. In addition to that, we're going to use an American straight bourbon from Heaven Hill Distilleries. This is the Elijah Craig small batch. They also make a barrel-proof version that would be fantastic in this drink, I think. I tend to like stronger spirits in general, so typically higher proof is going to be not just more strength, but more flavor as well. So my recipe, again, calls for parts. In this case, your 1 part would be your lowest common denominator. So the bourbon calls for 2 parts, which in this case will be 2 ounces. Okay, and again, if you don't have a jigger at home, You can use a tablespoon to measure. It's 2 tablespoons per ounce. So not to overly confuse you guys, but 2 ounces of the Elijah Craig bourbon into the mason jar. Egg white drinks is definitely something that I pride myself on, a good vigorous shake. And I'm sure some of my friends and bartenders who are watching this are wondering if I can pull it off in a mason jar. So I guess we'll see. So 1 ounce or 1 part fresh squeezed lemon juice into the mason jar. And then 1 part honey syrup. Okay. And I actually make the honey syrup in advance with equal parts warm water and honey. That's a little easier to work with when you're making drinks, and it's not as sticky. It doesn't get stuck to the inside of the jigger. Number of reasons why I make that into a syrup first. So if you didn't already make the honey syrup, dial back your proportions. Just use about a ½ ounce of honey. But in this case, we're going to use a full ounce. The egg white will also have a little bit of a drying effect or astringency because of the proteins that it contains. So this is an important first step of making any egg drink. Okay, we call this the dry shake. You notice I just have the liquid ingredients in there. Haven't added any ice yet. We're going to give that a good vigorous shake, which is going to emulsify the ingredients together. You can see how that's all emulsified together, right? Now it'll be time to add your ice. My fun little pineapple ice cream here. You don't necessarily have to fill the whole quart jar, just enough to keep it cold. Let's not forget those important saffron bitters that I was talking about before. So 2 dashes, all right? And you could have added these first. I'm just playing catch up. I'm using a dropper bottle, so this doesn't really dash like a normal bitters bottle would. So I roughly equate a dash to about 1 inch length on the dropper bottle. You can even see the beautiful color that's giving it already. All right, now for the heavy lifting. Secure that lid once again. We're going to give this what we call a whip shake. So it's more about the speed that you're shaking, not necessarily the power that you're delivering. We're looking to aerate and chill the drink at the same time. Take a nice deep breath, and here we go. About 12 to 15 seconds on the shake. Okay? Moment of truth here. Here's your glass. I'm going to give this a double strain, okay, through a fine mesh strainer. Remove any little ice chips that I may have generated during that rigorous shake I gave it. Tap, tap, tap. Right to the brim. Set that aside. And put you guys a little closer for this one. There we go. The final step here, we're going to add a few drops of bitters for garnish. Okay. Just right on top of the foam. It's going to give it a nice aroma of saffron and citrus. And you can even take a bar spoon, do a little design in there as a swirl. And there is the After the Gold Rush Sour. I hope you guys enjoyed. Cheers.
So I'm over here. I got my cocktail crew over here. You got to check out my cocktail crew. They're setting me up. They're setting me up for you know, because I got to drink while I'm eating. So Patrick, that looks delicious. I'm almost done with the first one. So, you know, it's good. They're backing me up. So I'm over here now. I got my, you can see my grits have been kind of simmering away. And over here, I got a preheated pan. And I've already made the vegetables over here. So you can see my shrimp all got marinated up. They look delicious. And they're going right in there. So that's just, it'll just cook. So while we're doing that, those are just going to hang out there for a minute. And so then in my grits, I got this cream cheese right here and some cheddar cheese. Oh yeah, I got to keep this going right here. Oh, let's get this up on a high flame. There we go. All right. And so these are my grits. And yeah, get down close on these actually. These look great. All right. So, you know, I like to have some parsley in my grits, but I didn't have any parsley. So we're kind of in a situation where it's like, you know, we're quarantine cooking. We're cooking with what we got. And so, oh, you can see my cheese is almost melted. So what I did is I did happen to have a little bit of spinach. And I don't know, it's probably too much, but I'm going to put some of that in the grits. And I'm going to put some of that in the shrimp too, because why not? You know, because why not? All right. And these shrimp are literally going to take about another minute and a half. And while we're doing that, I'm going to get my plates ready. All right. So here's my grits. Oh, Ashley, don't you want to? Oh, yeah. All right. She's my camera person. And are you camera woman, camera person, camera non? How do you identify? You're just camera? Camera. Just camera. All right. She's just camera. All right. Here you go. So I got my camera. How about pepper? A little more pepper? Yeah. A little more pepper. All right. Camera says a little more pepper. All right. There we go. All right. So I got a little more pepper with camera. Oh, you know, you use my spoon. Okay. Anyway. All right. So look, I got you just see my shrimp over here? See those? Those are just cooking away. All right. So I'm over here now, and I got, you know, we eat like kings over here. I got to say, we really do. Kings and queens, I guess. And so this is my grits, looking pretty cheesy and delicious. Oh, and you know, I've been hearing a lot about sourdough bread getting made at home. Actually, get a shot of that. This is like our 10th attempt at sourdough bread. Somebody gave us a sourdough starter. I don't know, this one, it doesn't have the same structure that I wanted. You know, the first one, you had better structure on the first one, the crust, but anyway, it tastes pretty good. It's getting real sour. It's good. All right, here's my grits. And, oh, those shrimp are coming. They're coming. Hey, camera, do you like your shrimp a little more cooked than that? Yeah. Okay. All right, so I got this little medley of vegetables right here that I'm just going to throw down. A little medley, some vegetables. So that cooked up pretty nice. That's just a little saute. I threw a little garlic in there too, because you know we're not making an appetizer here. We're making a full-on dinner. And okay, so one of the things I did while you guys were listening to the music was I sliced this lemon over here and I juiced it. Right, so you can see I got some lemon there for juice. And I'm going to just give us a couple little wedges. And this is really just, the shrimp part is pretty good. So what really makes this come together nicely, though, is the end when I put the lemon juice in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over here, and I'm going to put these shrimp down. I think I got 4 of these for each of us. And it's going to be good. This is, oh man, how do you describe a smell? I don't know, because this smells so good. It's got a little, I mean, you get a little of that pungent, I guess I made a few extras. All right. Okay, that's okay. I got an okay from camera. All right, so look, so my sauce is over here, and it needs to kind of come together because this is butter and oil. And what I got is I got the juice of about a half a lemon in there, and I'm just going to put that in there, and I'm going to give this a little shake. And you can see that the lemon juice has taken all that fat and all the seasoning that I had and everything, and it's bringing it together into a really, really nice looking sauce. All right, so look, I got these little lemons over here because this dish just it's garlicky and it's spicy and it's lemony, but you just can't get enough lemon. And so you remember, so this had the butter and the olive oil. And if you made this with bacon, or if you're making it right now with bacon, then you have the bacon fat and the bacon flavor, which I love, by the way. I'm not actually a vegetarian or pescatarian. We just eat that way a lot at home. You know, like I'm not a vegetarian, but I play one on TV. Anyway, all right. So here we go. We got shrimp and grits. Look at that. That looks pretty delicious right there. All right. Anyway, all right. So, oh, we don't have that. Where's that other cocktail? I want to taste that. Oh, all right. I think that the bourbon thing, honestly. So, you know, Patrick, look, I didn't have any saffron bitters, so I had regular bitters, but I did have some saffron. So we just put that might be a lot of saffron. I don't know, but this is going to be pretty good. So cheers. Here's to quarantine ending soon. I'm going to take you back, listen to a little more music, I guess. Thank you, everybody.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are trying to see if let's see here. Looking like
sound is good on the streaming.
it's not. One more time. All right, sorry about that, guys. I don't know.
How's that?
Hey. All right. I think we're okay. We got it. Oh my God. Sorry.
It was this sound.
Okay. All right. Got it. Oh, so sorry, guys. Okay. Difficult. All this online streaming stuff is very stressful. But we got some here for you. All right. This is called "Gone for Good." Where's my love gone? Is it buried deep beneath the sand? And I waited so long for a love like ours to fall into my hands. And we had no boundaries, fighting for all the things that we believe. And I miss the way we laughed and the way our hearts, they used to sing. Do you feel worthy? And on your darkest hour, do you still see me? Our love was the wildest of flowers. Is it gone for good? Is it gone for good? Sitting in your sadness, reaching for your hand, but you won't move. Please help me understand this. Did fear find a way to swallow up your truth? 'Cause I do most but asking me to be somebody I'm not willing to do. Do you feel worthy hanging on to your darkest hour? Do you still see me? Our love was the wildest of flowers. Is it gone good? Is it gone good? 'Cause I won't lie here crying myself to sleep. I've worked too damn hard for the ground beneath my feet. I need someone who wants to grow with me. And if that's not you, time to set me free. 'Cause I miss my friend, my lover, my partner. I'm begging you now, try to work a little harder. 'Cause you're losing me with all this negativity. And it's not what you're doing, it's how you think. I got no limitations, we can do anything. Give up your demons and fly away with me. Clouds of confusion and mystery, well, they're not bad necessarily. It's seeing the good in all the things. Love's no illusion, come back to me. Come back to me, come back to me, come back to me. Do you feel worthy hanging on to your darkest hour? Do you still see me? Our love was the wildest of flowers. Is it gone good? Is it gone good? Oh yeah. Is it gone good? Oh, is it gone for good? Is it gone for good? Cool. All right. I think we're back with the sound working out in my favor. Thanks for your patience there. All right. What do we got next? Okay. So this next song is called October. It's a newer song I wrote at the beginning of this year. About growing up, about moving, about life changes, and doing it with the person you love through all the ups and the downs. I wake up every morning, you by my side. I drink coffee, black tea, you smoke your cigarette outside. The leaves on the ground look heavier this time as we watch the sun rise. We left our town, the only people we ever knew. You gave up the job you've had since 22. The comfort of that shelter, the only thing we ever knew. Now we watch the sun rise. I miss the way October used to feel, and the way we used to know right from wrong. I don't know why we're coming loose, sunrise or sunset. It's just a different point of view. We'd scream and slam doors and say things we didn't mean. We were young and stupid, in love at 17. We both said things we sincerely regret, but we watched the sunset. And now we close doors and don't say what's on our mind. We don't talk about the future, only what we left behind. And I'm sitting in the silence, in the company of suspense. Oh, I miss the sunset. I miss the way October used to feel, and the way we used to know right from wrong. Don't know why we're coming loose. Sunrise or sunset, it's just a different point of view. So come on back, I can't do this alone. I didn't cross 3,000 miles to lose my home. So come on back to where you belong. 'Cause loving you should be the easiest thing of all. I don't care how October used to feel, or whether leaving was right or wrong. I know if we had to choose sunrise or sunset, it's just a different point of view. 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 Cool, thank you. So we have I got one more song for you guys, and this is also a cover. I think a lot of you will recognize this as well. All right. Oh, there's my dog. I heard there was a secret chord that David played, and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do ya? The goal is like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall in the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Well, your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty in the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throat and she cut your hair. From her lips she drew hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Oh, baby, I've been here before. I've seen this room I've walked this floor. I used to live alone before I knew ya. I've seen you fly on a marble arch. Life is not a victory march. It's a cold, broken hallelujah. 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 There was a time when you let me know what was really going on below, but now you never show that to me, do ya? Remember when I moved in you and the holy dove was moving too, and every breath we drew was hallelujah. 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 Maybe there's a God above, but all I ever learned from love was how to shoot somebody who outdrew ya. It's not a cry you hear at night. It's not someone who's seen the light. It's a call and it's a broken hallelujah. 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 Cool, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in, and thanks again, Rad Plaid and Eat Drink Lucky for having me.
Go, go, go.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.
Take care.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Hey, great music. Great cocktail. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Aw.
This was great. Great.
Clink.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.